What's going on? This is Marcus, Master Coach for Kettlebell Kings, and I want to talk about 5 of the biggest mistakes that I see with kettlebell training. Mistake number 1 is feeling it in your back, specifically with swings. There's gonna be 2 parts to this. So besides the obvious of understanding the technique, the 2 main things is we're not understanding that it's an explosive hip drive. Most people think it's a shoulder raise. So if you see a picture of someone swinging and you see the arms out in front of them, you assume, okay, they're lifting with their arms. But it is all coming from an explosive hip extension, which is going to propel the weight forward. Second part of that is if you are doing that properly, but you're still feeling back pain, typically it's not enough tension, specifically through the anterior, through the front side, but just tension throughout the entire torso is going to stabilize your spine. It's going to distribute that weight evenly, and it's going to make sure that you can swing pain-free. Mistake number 2 is bruised forearms, specifically with cleans and snatches, but we'll talk about the cleans. So there's going to be, again, 2 parts to this. So number 1, typically the reason you'll see that is because that weight is traveling too far out in front of you. And so because of the path that the kettlebell has to take, because it's coming so far out in front of you, it is going to have no other choice but to come right back and boomerang onto your forearm. So fix number 1 is keeping that bell tight to the body. Second part of that is typically people will have a kung fu grip on the kettlebell. So when they have, like, even if they stay tight to the body, if they pull, that bell is going to slam on the forearm. So second part of that is having a loose enough grip for that bell to travel around the forearm, travel throughout the hand, but tight enough that you don't let it go. So tight to the body, loose grip, that'll fix up those bruised forearms. Mistake number 3 is too much squatting during a swing. So this isn't inherently bad, but what makes this bad is if you are squatting and your arms are out in front of you, when you get to that end range, that bottom position of the swing, then now when the arms aren't tucked against your body and you're a little bit too squatty, that bell is going to travel straight down and put a lot of pressure on the back, and you don't get that nice pendulum effect that you would get with a swing where you can really access your backside. So you want to make sure you are in a predominant hinge, not to say that you will have completely locked out knees, but soft knees, mostly a hinge, that alongside with your arms tucked against your body at the bottom of the downswing, you will alleviate a lot of the squattiness. So another thing you can look for is that shin angle. So if you're coming too far forward, you're squatting too much, we want to try to have as much vertical alignment of those shins, so drive those hips back, access those hammies. Next issue I see is neck pain while pressing. So a couple parts to this. Number 1, once someone is using a weight that is fairly challenging, they're going to most likely elevate the shoulder, elevate the scap, and now that's going to put you in a very weak position. I'm not pressing from that nice strong foundation. I'm not pressing from my lat. All these little muscles up here are now getting the brunt of the work and all up into the upper trap, and then that connects up into the neck. So if I'm pressing from this position, that has the potential to strain musculature around my neck. So we want to make sure dropping the shoulder, engaging the lat, and then pressing from there. So second part to that is, as I'm pressing, if I'm getting too much extension or if I have too much facial tension, that can create excessive tension through the neck. So keep a nice soft face. I'm not saying you can't grimace. I'm not saying you can't, give it 100%, but you don't need to be crunching your teeth and breaking your teeth every single rep. Try to stay as relaxed as possible, as soft as possible, and that will help alleviate a lot of potential neck pain, and not just while pressing, but pretty much doing anything heavy. Lastly, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves, is bloodied up, ripped up hands, specifically with snatching. Now, if you are competing in kettlebell sport and you are trying to get a certain number with a ridiculous amount of weight and you rip up your hand, that's for competition, fine, I get it. But for the average gym goer, you do not ever need to rip up your hands. So this kind of goes back with the clean fix. As you're coming down, making sure that that bell travels between your palm and your fingers. So we're not trying to keep a kung fu grip on the bell the whole time. So as it's going through your hand, it's just going to basically be like sandpaper on your hand. We want to make sure as it's coming through, it's going to travel from the palm of your hand into your fingers. So even if you keep your hand closed around the bell, it's traveling past that little meaty section, right past your calluses, so that way it saves your hand. So loosen up your grip, practice your grip strength in other ways as well, but with swinging, cleaning, snatching, you will build a stronger grip. Let that bell travel nicely, and as soon as you start to feel that pinch, you start to feel things start to pull and they're gonna rip off, just stop. Don't be a hero. Stop the set and restart. All you're gonna lose is a lot of time training if you rip up your hands. So keep your hands safe, and I hope these helped.